Today we're going to pre-trip the inside of the bus, focusing on the student portion of the bus first.
Exactly, starting with the stairway. So we look at the rubber mats. The rubber mats are not worn, torn, cut, or frayed. They are securely mounted, no missing nuts and bolts. The metal strips are not cracked, bent, dent, or damaged. They are straight aligned, and they are securely mounted, no missing nuts and bolts. These over here are the stairway lights. The stairway lights are not cracked, broken, dirty, or missing. They are securely mounted, no missing nuts and bolts. The rubber seals are not worn, torn, cut, or frayed. This is the handrail over here. The handrail is straight aligned. It is securely mounted, no missing nuts and bolts. It is not cracked, bent, dent, or damaged. And we have the lettering over here. Watch your step. It is not worn, torn, cut, or frayed, or dirty. There's no letter missing. So I go upstairs. And what I observe is the top of the seats, the seat covers. The seat covers are not worn, torn, cut, or frayed. The seats are securely mounted, no missing nuts and bolts. The seats are securely mounted, no missing nuts and bolts. And the covers are not worn, torn, cut, or frayed. This over here is the emergency exit. We see that the pad is not worn, torn, cut, or frayed. It's securely mounted, no missing nuts and bolts. The emergency exit works properly. I know it because I can hear it. And the lettering is not worn, torn, cut, or frayed. There is no missing letters. That's the lettering for the emergency door. I have similar lettering for the emergency windows that are windows number 4 and number 8. And if I look further down, I look at the structure down the different seats, and I see that it's securely mounted. There is no missing nuts and bolts. It is not worn. It is not cracked, bent, dent, or damaged. Not cracked, bent, dent, or damaged. Over here we see one of the emergency windows. So it is not, the glass is not cracked, broken, dirty, or missing. It is securely mounted, no missing nuts and bolts. The rubber seals are not worn, torn, cut, or frayed. The lettering is not worn, torn, cut, or frayed, no letter missing. And if I open the window to verify, I see that the emergency windows, they work. Over here we have the emergency exit hatch. It is securely mounted. It is not cracked, bent, dent, or damaged, no missing nuts and bolts. What we can do, we can push all the way like this for ventilation, and we can bring it back, or we can unlatch over here for emergency situations and push, and then the hatch is open. Once we're done, we put it in proper position where the groove is at the properly lined up over here, and we latch back, and we're good to go. We know that it works because it's pretty obvious. We just heard it. So if I go a little bit further, I see my other emergency windows, number 4. I verify and I see that they work as well. I turned the electricity of the bus on prior to demonstrating. Otherwise we would not hear any of that noise. And I am not going through explanations in detail, but I would advise, unless the examiner suggests that you just move on to the next step, just take your time and demonstrate every single window individually, so it is not assumed that you don't know what to do. Over here, that's my other emergency hatch, so I can push it over here for ventilation again, or I can open it for emergency purposes, and that's what I just did. I unlatched, I pushed to open up, and what I do, I make sure this is all lined up properly, and I latch it back. Over here we see the dome lights. So there are dome lights all over the back of the bus, and all my dome lights are securely mounted. They are not cracked, broken, dirty, or missing. There is no missing nuts and bolts, and they are all clear in color. I think that's about it. I'm pretty sure oh, the metal strip, of course, if we look at the floor, the rubber mat is securely mounted. It's not worn, torn, cut, or frayed. And the metal strips over here are securely mounted. No missing nuts and bolts. And they are not cracked, bent, dent, or damaged. And they are straight aligned.
Thank you.
Thank you.